Alright, so in this video, we're going to go over some of the basic settings and just some miscellaneous stuff. We're kind of just cleaning up here. You have this print/scan to memory device option. It's kind of cool. There's a USB spot on the left of the control panel that you can plug in a USB, print and scan to it. It's really limited as far as the settings, like whenever you open these up, but it's there and it's nice sometimes. I've seen people want to use it. This printer here, you're never going to need it, because anything that you can do in here, you can use in the quick print release. If you're trying to release a print, if you're trying to cancel a job, it's better to just click on the stop button, but it does exist. Also going to go to the application site here because there's one that's pretty useful if you're doing ID cards. Just going to go ahead and set this up. Here we go. So Ricoh does have some free apps which are kind of cool, I suppose. We do use this smart integration stuff sometimes, but it usually is in tandem with other stuff that does cost money and is also third party. So for the most part, a lot of this stuff is going to have to be set up either by an IT or us or someone else. It's not super user friendly. What is nice though is this ID card copy option. Now there is a scanner app, however it doesn't really work very well, so I don't recommend it to people. But we're going to install this real quick. And through the magic of editing, it is installed. And we'll go back to the home screen. And you'll see it should have popped up here. And it's super simple. You just take your ID card. This one will allow you to send it through the document feeder. None of the non-SD copiers will, and most people don't have them, so I'm going to show you how to do it on the exposure glass. And what it's showing you here is there's little markers that say how long the paper is. So you kind of want to line it up between the 5.5 inch marker here and the 5.5 inch marker here. Really anywhere in that 5.5 by 5.5 square is going to be fine. But it looks a little bit nicer if you center it, but it'll catch it either way. We're going to click on OK. Start scanning. It's not going to detect the paper size because it can't tell what it is, but you just click on continue anyways. Flip it over, press start. Same thing about original size. Again, we're going to continue anyways. Finish. There you go. You have your front and back of an ID card on the same page and a little bit bigger so you can actually read it. So that one actually does get used quite a bit, and I think it's pretty nice. You have this user guide here. You open it up, it opens up a web page. It's kind of cool. And then we're going to go into the settings. Now, a lot of these, it's pretty easy to make your machine not print anymore if you don't know what you're doing. Like, you won't do permanent damage, but like, you can turn off printing for users without a user code, and then it causes all kinds of issues because now no one can print. Because, you know, if you don't put that user code in there, then it won't let them. So I'm not going to get too in depth into this, but what I will show you is the tray paper settings. So you just open up the settings icon here. You're going to click on tray paper settings, paper size, paper type. Then you have all your trays. So for the most part, they're all set to auto detect for the size, set to plain paper too, which is normal copy paper. Tray 1, 8.5 by 11, no matter what. But we're going to click on tray 2. Like, say you put 11 by 17 cardstock in here, something like that. If you want it to print out looking nice and correct and also not giving you an error, you'll go to the paper size. Should auto detect that size unless it's something weird like envelopes or some cards can do it, where you scroll all the way down to the bottom. You can put in a custom size, and then I think these smaller envelope sizes, it won't auto detect, but you can manually set them as like a preset. Like, they're already in here, you just have to click on it, but it won't auto detect anything that small. I don't think it'll auto detect anything under 5.5 inches. And then for the paper type, you have a few options here. You have your letterhead, pre-printed paper, colored paper. If it'll let me scroll, you have cardstock up there, envelope, coated paper, and then your paper thickness. The box of your paper should have the paper thickness on the side. If it doesn't, just pick a really high number. It won't hurt anything to say that it's a thicker paper. All this does is make it go through the machine a little bit slower so that it ensures that the toner fully bonds to the page as it's going through the fuser. So it won't hurt anything by picking a thicker paper size. All it does is make it a little bit slower. Envelopes will slow down the paper and will actually lower the temperature of the fuser to help avoid melting the glue. I'm pretty sure that they lower the temperature of the fuser. I'm not actually 100% on that. But definitely envelopes, you'll want to set that to the correct setting. I haven't really seen any permanent damage be done by people not using the correct setting. It just causes a lot of quality issues. Same thing with like cardstock and most coated paper. I do really recommend that you put in the correct settings for coated paper though, because this does this also lowers the temperature of the fuser. So if it's too hot, certain types of coated paper that probably aren't actually meant for toner printers, the coating on them can actually melt a little bit, and then it'll get on the fuser. Again, I've only really seen it happen once, and it didn't cause any permanent damage, but it will definitely cause quality issues if you have coated paper in there and you don't have it set correctly. You know, it'll streak down the page, and you'll be like, "Oh, my copier is broken." And then label paper, and hopefully you were told this whenever the copier was installed, it has to be done through the bypass tray. So if you look in here, the paper setting is only in the bypass tray. You don't have the label paper setting in any of the other trays. The bypass takes a smoother path through the machine, like it just curves less, so it helps keep those labels from peeling up. Again, you'll want to set it thicker, helps slow the labels down going through the machine. And then label paper also lowers the temperature of the fuser and slows the paper down. So all this combined helps a lot to keep the labels from peeling up and then getting stuck around the fuser and costing like $800 for a new fusing unit. It doesn't happen often, but still, definitely something that you want to avoid if possible by just changing the setting here. Another thing that I will say is that by default, the bypass tray is set to listen to the commands from your computer. So even if you have it set to label paper on the machine, if whenever you're printing it, you have it set as normal paper, it's probably going to print it as normal paper. And then that can cause issues too. So just make sure that on your computer, you have it set to label paper. On the machine, you have it set to label paper. It really depends on how the copier is set up as to which one it listens to. But by default, it listens to the computer. That would just be for like copying for the most part, where it listens to the machine settings. Yeah. But I think that's it. All these functions here.